What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. As you can see on the screen, we got quite a bit to talk about here on Titans and Truth tonight. And I am back, and we're definitely going to be putting some things together heading towards the off season as we ask the question, what's next for the Tennessee Titans? And there's a lot of news that has come down, and we are definitely going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some breaking news that came out today, maybe about a couple of hours ago. That could be some very big and interesting news for the Tennessee Titans. And also, we're going to be talking about what's next for the Tennessee Titans as far as what's coming up. As far as the draft, we just had the Senior Bowl, and we're going to be looking towards, of course, the NFL Combine and free agency, which we'll be breaking some stuff down as far as what's going to be coming up and some things that's going to be happening for future shows. So y'all come on in. Make sure y'all share this show out to everybody, and we're going to get ready to get started in just under 60 seconds. Good evening, Titan Nation. How is everybody? Good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody doing? Welcome in to Titans and Truth, to TNT tonight. I'm your host, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we have a jam-packed show for you on this evening. And before we do get things going on, please do make sure y'all share this show out. We are actually at about around close to 1,200 subscribers. So definitely help me out with that as far as helping me get to that point. And, definitely help me as far as growing the show. So I'm at about 1,130 subscribers right now, trying to get to 1,200. So definitely help me out. Make sure y'all again share this show, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, you can share it to Facebook. Take a snippet and put it on Twitter or on Instagram. Make sure you hit that like button as well, as more people start to come on in, and we talk about some of the news that has come out involving the Tennessee Titans. So definitely make sure y'all do that. And also, if y'all want some gear like this hat that I'm wearing, definitely hit me up as well. I'll be more than happy to get you in touch with my guy Out the Crib Customs, or like the t-shirts that y'all have seen. I can get in touch with my girl, Miss Latoya, as well, if y'all are wanting some Titans and Truth swag. So everybody come on in. Definitely sit back, relax, take off your shoes, kick back, and enjoy some of this great content that I'm about to bring out to you. I see we have we got Steve up in here. We got 615 Podcast. What's up? Reggie B, what's going on? We got, let's see. Yeah, we're less than a month away from the new league year. Tony Partee, what's going on? Like Reggie said, hit that like button. What's going on? Titan Overdrive, what's up? So everybody, welcome in. I know more of you are going to start coming in, and make sure y'all comment because this is not just me mouthing off. I'm talking with you as well. So let's go ahead and get into the breaking news that has come out, and that is that the Tennessee Titans are exploring the possibility of building a brand new stadium. Now, this just came out maybe about a couple out, maybe about 3-4 hours ago, and this was an article that was in Axos Nashville. Nate Ray. I know I probably didn't say his name right. Basically, there's been some there were some talks between the Tennessee Titans and the city about doing renovations to Nissan Stadium, which would in the beginning would cost around $600 million to renovate Nissan Stadium. But with everything that's been going on in the country with inflation, with prices of everything going up around the country, that things have started to take a change a little bit. And so this is what's been going on. Let's see. So here it is. The Tennessean reported earlier this month the price tag for renovations for the 23-year-old Nissan Stadium were $600 million. But a Titan spokesperson told Axos the actual cost is now estimated to be nearly double that amount. The Titans confirmed that due to the rising cost estimates, we need to take a step back and reevaluate if a stadium renovation is the most responsible option forward and explore other paths. And that includes talking about possibly building a new stadium. And the article goes on to say, for example, the stadium's structural frame was built with concrete and needs to be largely replaced with steel. The mechanical, plumbing, and electrical systems need to be completely replaced. The window system throughout the building is so antiquated that it is not even manufactured anymore. So this is stuff that not only has been told to the Tennessee Titans, but also communicated with Mayor Cooper and the city as well. So let's see. Mayor Cooper acknowledged in the statement to Axel that revised cost estimates require us to closely review whether a new stadium will be a better long-term financial decision. We won't settle for anything but the best case scenario for Nashville. So, in turn, the Titans and the city have to basically go back to the drawing board just a little bit and reevaluate some things and figure what's the best course of action involving the stadium, because they were originally just going to be like, well, this is the house that we built. We'll just try to keep repairing it and we'll just keep fixing it. But sometimes it gets to a point that you have a car. It's like having a car. Somebody that maybe has a old, I'm just gonna say for an example, let's just say a 1998 Chevrolet. They've had it for over 20 years, 20, 30 years. They've always fixed it up themselves, or they've always been able to know a mechanic that can fix up the car. But after time, certain parts that need to be replaced are parts that you don't find anymore, especially in older cars. In older cars, there may be certain parts that need to be replaced that are not manufactured anymore, and they've went into the new age or advanced. So it gets to the point now that you can't fix it on old parts. You're gonna have to get brand new parts that this particular person or company doesn't make anymore. So it might be better to just get something new. Or, for example, you get a car, and then it's all of a sudden, you got to get some repairs done, and the body shop or the repairman tells you, all these parts are going to cost $10,000, $15,000 to do a complete overhaul on your car. At that point, you might as well just buy a new car. You might as well just buy a new. So when you're looking at this, in the original point, it was about $600 million to renovate. Now they're saying it's going to possibly, it will be more than double that amount. So you're looking at now $1.2 billion to renovate. And I was just listening to Stillman and Company with Caroline Fenton. And, basically they were talking about some of the new stadiums that have been built recently. For example, Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. You're looking at now $1.2 billion to renovate. Allegiant Stadium cost $2 billion to build. So you think about it, even though I know, hey, it's not my money, I'm not the one spending it, but if you take a look at it, let's see. Okay, it costs $1.2 billion to renovate. But Allegiant Stadium just got built for a brand new stadium just got built for $2 billion. $2 billion, $1.2 billion. Difference of about $800 million. You might as well go ahead and build a new stadium for that amount instead of just waiting on renovations at $1.2 billion. You're talking $2 billion, maybe 2.5, $3 billion. You might as well build a brand new stadium for that amount. And if you build a new stadium, will that be with a retractable roof or anything, which I think makes more logical sense because, hey, we've all been to games. We've all been to games where, in the preseason or right in the beginning of the year, it's sweltering hot. You're talking like upper 90s, almost 100 degrees. It's sweltering hot. You're burning up out there in the dead sun. You can have a retractable roof, close it up, you cool off, and you're fine. Okay, in late September, October, where it's pretty nice, temperatures are in like the 70s or upper 60s. If it's a pretty day and it's a comfortable temperature, open that sucker up. You still kind of get some of that outside experience, but it is a lot more enclosed and it's a little bit easier to kind of be comfortable and enjoy yourself. If it's raining or you got the really cold weather, temperatures are in the 20s. We've all been to games where it was raining like crazy and we're getting drenched. Or if you're in the cold and you're freezing your tail off, close that roof. Hey, I come in, got this big coat on. Shoot, I can take off that coat, and everything be like, yeah, I'm comfortable. And it's freezing cold outside, but on the inside, you're comfortable. You can be warm and you still get that great experience. So I'm all for a new stadium. I know there are some people who are maybe a little bit old-fashioned thinking, well, it's supposed to be outside and things like that. Think about it from this side too. Yes, it would cost about $2 billion or more to build it. But look at the money that will come back to that stadium if you do this. Nashville talks about being an it city. If you have that, you have Nissan Stadium now. Yes, you can have a few concerts and things like that. The WWE is bringing SummerSlam to Nissan Stadium in July. What happens if you have weather? What happens if it rains on the day of that event? You've got to cancel or postpone and all of that. You already got hotels booked. You already got people coming in and everything. What do? You lose a lot of money with that. With a brand new stadium in that situation, the event keeps going as it is because you're coming inside. You'll be able to be comfortable, have a good time. More money comes in, more space, more people will come in, and it just makes everything better. You can hold big events like a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania, a NCAA Final Four, a college football national championship, or dare I say it, a Super Bowl. Nashville is building hotels all over the place, so they're going to have room. So I honestly think this could be a great idea if they just go ahead, build a new stadium. I mean, it costs more and more money just to renovate because you spend $1.2 billion to renovate, then something else goes wrong, then you got to spend more money on fixing that. A lot of the things that are going on are outdated. And so right now, there's probably been some inspections done on the stadium where they're basically saying, well, dag, you know, we might as well go ahead and build a new, you might as well go ahead and build a new stadium instead of spending $1.2 billion. Then you're probably going to have to spend another $900 million. Then you probably got to spend another $300 million at some point later to keep renovating. Why don't you just spend that $2-3 billion? Go ahead, rebuild it. Go ahead and build a new stadium, then instead of having to repair every year or every other year, you got some stuff that's going to last you at least 10 years, 10 to 15 years before you really have to repair. Now, I don't know. I'm no building expert, so do not quote me on that. But what I'm saying is that I just think it's beneficial. And I think it's a great idea that they go ahead, rebuild a new Nissan stadium, and it just is going to enhance the experience. I'm all for it. Let me get to some of y'all comments, see what y'all think as far as this idea. Of course, Steve said might change stadiums. Now, there's a lot of possibilities with that. And I mean, and yes, there are pros and there are also cons. And the cons to that being, well, if you're going to build a new stadium, where are you going to build it? That is an excellent question. Right now, of course, you would think they're probably going to want to, rebuild a new stadium right at where Nissan Stadium is because it's a great spot. It's a great spot right by the interstate. And, a lot of people can walk across the pedestrian bridge right to downtown. If you want to go on Broadway, go to the bars and stuff, and then walk across to the stadium. They're talking about building the new development area there as far as new restaurants, hotels, entertainment spots and stuff like that. So it would seem like that's the perfect spot to do it. But if you build it right there, gee, where are the Titans going to play while it takes a year or two to build this new stadium? And I didn't even think about this until it was brought up. I'm like, okay, maybe Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt Stadium or TSU at Halley Stadium, which I know that's definitely not an option. But then, of course, Nashville SC is built a new stadium. The Titans could play there for a year or two while the stadium is getting built. And yeah, it would displace for about a year or two, but then the new stadium is ready. You come right back over. So that is something, the cost of it, taxpayer money. Now, hey, I don't live in Nashville anymore. So, I mean, it won't cost me anything. So, that is something else that has to take place. What's up, Chris Frazier? Let's see. But, I mean, there are some cons to it as well. Financials, where are the Titans going to play while the stadium is being built? Are you just going to build it on a completely brand new spot? Now, I think Caroline brought it up, and I think some other people brought it up too, like the parking lot right by Nissan, you theoretically could build the stadium right there next to Nissan Stadium. Then that way, while the new stadium is being built, you're still playing games at Nissan Stadium, and then you could get rid of that, build maybe a big parking garage or something like that. Now, that does add to the problem of parking. That's going to be a whole different issue. So I do see about that. Steve Crowder said, no doubt the mayor's trying to lure tourists to Nashville. I mean, Nashville's already got tourists coming in. It's already a great city to visit. It's the number one city for bachelorette parties already. This is not going to do anything but bring more. So, you know, they're going to host the Super Bowl and other events in the future. Yeah, because, I mean, you got CMA Fest that's usually always there. You're going to have, you try to bring maybe a Super Bowl, a Final Four, things like that. Or you can have, one of the big NCAA tournament games. You could have the Music City Bowl, maybe possibly as one of the big bowl games, possibly. So that is something, to consider and everything. So, I mean, look at this. 615 is right. Allegiant Stadium, $2.2 billion. US that opened just this year. US Bank Stadium in Minnesota, $1.1 billion. Now, SoFi Stadium did cost a lot of money, but it was in LA. They were trying to build the big stadium, for two teams. I think they're trying to have like the NFL Network headquarters there as well. It's state of the art, super state of the art. So, I mean, 1.2 billion, it is a pretty hefty tag. And C15 says the Titans decided to build a new stadium. It'll probably cost somewhere between 2.5 and 3 billion. And that sounds about right. What's up, Clay? What's up, Miss Mims? How you doing? So I understand the reason. Jameson comes and says, I understand the reasoning for wanting to do some remodeling, but the price of it is going to look the price worth of going to look into building a brand new stadium. I'm not sure exactly what you're saying, but I mean, again, with the inflation that's going on in the country, prices are going up for everything. Everything. Like, I was just at the grocery store and I went and got a half gallon of milk. It's $2.29 when I normally pay like $1.50, maybe $1.70 for a half gallon of milk. And, I have sleep apnea. I have to have distilled water to sleep at night. So normally I go and I pay like 89, 99 cents for a gallon of distilled water. It's now $1.29. Prices are going up for everything. So, I mean, there's a reason, things are going up because of this inflation. Now, I know there are some people that's like not happy about it, not happy with the new stadium period. Now, where's the team going to play at? Where are the fans going to be at while they do it? Again, there are going to be options. Now, they could build a new stadium at a completely different location, and they could still have the games at Nissan while that stadium is being built. But you're taking it away from downtown, possibly. Also, rumor is that there's enough room with that parking lot right by the stadium. You could build a new stadium right where that parking lot is and still have games at Nissan Stadium. But that will present a parking problem, a huge parking problem. But again, this is preliminary discussion. They're exploring this option. Nothing is definite. Nothing is set in stone as far as what's going to happen. But I think they're going to lean towards building a new stadium. I'm going to get to a few more comments, and then we're going to keep going with this. Let's see. The Titans for Life. What's up, Titans for Life? Welcome in here. He says, the cost of building a new stadium is also offset by new PSL sales. Everyone will be required to repurchase. So that would be millions in offset and guaranteed in ticket sales at a higher price. And that's another thing. Again, with inflation, ticket prices are going to go up. So like with season tickets, I'm going ahead, I'm opting in now before those ticket prices go up. So, I mean, if you want to be a big time player, it takes money to make money. Small change ain't going to do it for you. The team talking about going all in, trying to get to a Super Bowl. The team also needs to go all in building a big time stadium because, again, I'm sick and tired of either burning up to death in the sweltering hot or freezing to death in the freezing cold or getting drenched on in the rain. And I'll be honest, I know some people criticize me. That was one of the main reasons I didn't go to the Miami game. was because of the rain. And also, I was kind of worried about my car. I had to get some repairs done, and I didn't want to risk driving 3 hours and my car breaks down on the interstate. So, again, Philomatic said, hey, you're right. Can't be cheap and do patchwork on Nissan Stadium like you would take care of your car at a local old head to fix your car for a pack of cigarettes. So, Ms. Mims, if you replace the Titan Stadium, or the team still be the Miss Mim, they're always going to be the Tennessee Titan. The name isn't going to change. The team name will never change. It is going to be the Tennessee Titans all the way. The stadium might get a different name, but I think they're under lease with Nissan. So the stadium is still going to have a Nissan name to it because they've already entered an agreement with them. They're already in a contract with Nissan. So the new stadium is going to have a Nissan stadium to it, but but the stadium name would change. That's not going to change the name of the team. So absolutely not. Absolutely not. And 615, if you build it, they will come. Exactly. They said, I still like playing football outside in the elements, but that's just me. I mean, again, I get it. Some of y'all like the elements. Some of y'all like the outside. Me personally, I don't mind the elements, but when the elements get a little bit too extreme, close that sucker up. I don't mind playing in the elements, but I want to play in comfortable elements. I mean, come on, there's a difference. Okay, if it's, for example, if it's a little breezy, temperature is in like the 60s, like in the mid to upper 60s, I'd say between like 60 and 80 degrees. I'm like, okay, play outside, play in the elements. That's fine. I'm not really going to go crazy. If it's in the 50s, okay, that's not really bad either if it's a sunny day. But what happens if the temperatures are in the 50s, but the forecast is for thunder or for rain? Y'all want to sit out in rain? Y'all want to sit out and get drenched? Have your clothes all wet? Really? I don't. I want to be comfortable. I want to enjoy the game and be comfortable. But that's just me. And so, Titans Rossi said, where would they play? They're going back to Vandy. No. Now, I think what will probably end up happening, I think they would end up at the new Nashville SC Stadium. I think that's where they would be at least for a year or two. Why? Because during the season, that stadium won't be used. I believe Nashville SC seasons are in the spring. Like right now, Nashville SC is not playing right now. They play in the spring going into the summer. So while they're in the offseason, the Titans could use that new Nashville SC stadium while that stadium is being built. They're only going to be there for like a year or two. And then they could go back to the new Nissan Stadium. I think that would be the best possible plan, is to play at the new Nashville SC Stadium. That's what I would do. And Jameson said, if they would build a new stadium, they could do what they did out in LA, have the top of the roof where there's a canopy. That way you can still kind of play in the elements as well. Yeah, and there's a thing about that. I think Lucas Oil Stadium has something like that too, where you can open up the retractable roof, kind of similar to Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. If you got some windows or something in the end zones, you might be able to open that up. And in that way, you still kind of have that elemental feel if everybody wants the elements so bad, which me, I don't really care. I mean, yes, I used to play football in the elements. I understand that. But I hated playing in the rain. I hated being freezing cold. I'm a summer boy. I like the summertime, but I don't want to burn up to death. So I'm just saying, that's just me. So Again, y'all can continue to comment on that. Again, I'm gonna get to some other quick stories that we were talking about. I talked about in my Super Bowl preview. I know some of y'all didn't really get a chance to watch that. Congrats to Coach Vrabel for winning Coach of the Year. That was a good award. He kind of had some nice swag to him with his black and white suit, black and silver suit a little bit. So it was seeming like a regular suit. It wasn't like a tuxedo or nothing like that. Nothing too flashy. You know, Vrabel, he ain't gonna try to win you with flash. So that's something that that he doesn't do. But it was cool. So congratulations to him for winning Coach of the Year. But I'm ready for a Super Bowl championship. Tim Kelly, senior offensive assistant, passing game coordinator. Again, I gave some thoughts on that. Y'all could go back and look at that Super Bowl preview. I went into that early on. I think that's a good move, but it also says, hey, you know what? Todd Downing needs help. He sucked. We need a passing game coordinator, even though the Texans weren't exactly great. Deshaun Watson did throw for 4,000 yards under Tim Kelly. And Davis Mills, we saw a few things with him at the end. Aaron Rodgers building a house in Nashville, in Brentwood, yes. But since then, some things have changed. You know, the Titans themselves have said, you know, going after Aaron Rodgers is not really an option for them right now. They are so dead set on sticking with Tannehill, which I think is ridiculous. They should explore all options. But also the news has been coming out over the last few days to a week that the relationship between the Packers and Aaron Rodgers has gotten better. So there is a likelihood that he stays in Green Bay. And also the engagement that he had to his girlfriend or ex-fiance has been broken off. She lived in Denver, which a lot of people thought Rodgers might end up going to Denver. His former offensive coordinator is now the coach in Denver, but now he done broke off his engagement with his girlfriend, and you know things are looking like they're better between the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. So he could be staying in Green Bay. So that is something that, of course, is going to be continuing to monitor. And again, Vrabel, J. Rob, and it seems like the whole team has just coddled and just decided they just giving Tannehill just this big hug of we support you, even though everybody else doesn't, but we got your back. I'm like, oh my God, this sounds like such a loser mentality. I'm like, and the thing I'm still disappointed with is that Tannehill still has not come out and said, you know what? It was my fault we lost this game. I'm like, if you at least would come out and admit, hey, this is on me, then I might have felt better. But still, we haven't heard that. We haven't heard from Tannehill since the playoff game. And, you know, he didn't address anybody and lock a clean out. We haven't heard anything. As far as it seems, Tannehill is went into exile right now. And that ain't a good look. So it just seemed like they're giving way too much job security to Ryan Tannehill. I know his cap number is at 38 million and the dead cap is 57 million. I know that. And you know, it would be difficult to move on from that. But you got to take a look at all your options. You really do. You got to take a look at all your options as far as bettering the football team. But they, you know, J. Robert Vrabel have said, well, you know, Tannehill is our quarterback and we have to be great around him. Okay, that's all well and good. Yes, you do have to be great around Tannehill, but also that means Tannehill needs to step up and be great too. And that's the problem. Everything else can be great around you. You can have superstar pieces everywhere on your offensive line, at receiver. You know, you got superstar receiver in A.J. Brown. You still got a guy that can be a star in Julio Jones. You got a superstar running back in Derrick Henry. You got a terrific defense and a great pass rush. You had a lot of good things around, but you can still have a sucky quarterback. And that's what's happening. You can have everything great around Tannehill, but if Tannehill still sucks, none of that's going to matter. None of that will matter. And if we have another year, this upcoming year, like last year, then what are you going to say? You can't say, well, everybody else around him wasn't great. You would have to blame Tannehill. So I'm just waiting on Tannehill to say, you know what? It's my fault. But unfortunately, he hasn't done that. Titan Rob says, Kyler Murray trade, I highly doubt it. I mean, Kyler Murray, yes, he's a good athlete. He's a decent quarterback, but he's the type of quarterback, starts off hot, gets cold later in the year. We've seen that the last couple of years. Starts off hot, looks great, but then he cools off later. Starts making mistakes later in the year that cost the team. And you got to think, he comes from an air raid system, and that's kind of what they're running now in Arizona. Do you think he would fit in this system under Vrabel? Probably not. Aaron Rodgers to Denver also off as well. Yeah, exactly. You know, Joseph saying the Predators could play more games at Nissan Stadium. Exactly. And I mean, hey, outdoor elements, bang, in the cold, open it up, Predators could play there. You could do that. You could turn the AC all the way up, freeze the place out, open up the roof. You could play some games there if necessary. If there's a concert at Bridgestone, move the game to Nissan Stadium. Yeah, there is a possibility. Steve Cryo says Tannehill is hiding because the media is gonna bash him. Yeah, he's hiding. Weezy Bowski, late, but I'm here. What's up with you? Hopefully this does improve, James, and I hope so. With everything, so hopefully this new edition does improve. Let's see. And could the Titans pull off what the Rams did in the Super Bowl? That's been the question. Will the Titans go all in? Unfortunately, the way it looks, it sounds like J-Rob and Mike Vrabel, they're just happy. They're going to stick to the status quo. It sounds like they're just happy with being a team that, wins the division every other year in a weak division, getting to the playoffs, and having an early exit. And I don't like that. Because think about this. Who is Tannehill going to beat in the playoffs? Yes, you're in a division with Trevor Lawrence, who is struggling. If Doug Peterson comes in and is a good coach, I mean, I think he's a decent coach, probably better than what they had with Urban Meyer, and he gets his hands on Trevor Lawrence, and they have the number 1 pick in the draft, they could trade that pick, get some more picks, build around Trevor Lawrence. The Jags could be a problem because I think Trevor Lawrence can be a good quarterback. Houston, we know, is Davis Mills. We're not worried about them. But Jacksonville, it depends on what they do in the offseason. Trevor Lawrence could be coming up, yes. So the Titans probably are going to win the division. And, I mean, we don't know what Indy's going to do at quarterback. Right now, before March 19th, it looks like they're going to, move on from Carson Wentz. Because, I mean, they can move on from him. His $15 million becomes guaranteed after the 19th of March, and they could get out of that and move on and get a new quarterback. And if they get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, that's going to be a huge problem for the Titans to overcome. And it's not just going to be the Indianapolis Colts. You're still going to have to go up against, and again, think about all the teams we're going to have to face this year alone. You're going to have to face off with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati at Nissan Stadium. You got to face Dak Prescott this year. Even though he's in the NFC, he's still a decent quarterback. You got to face Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, who is back on the ascend again. I mean, you got Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Carr, Herbert. All of those quarterbacks you're facing this upcoming season. How many of them quarterbacks can Tannehill actually go shot for shot with? Maybe one. Maybe with Derek Carr. Maybe a Justin Herbert. Even though Herbert is better than Tannehill. If all those games are shootouts, I don't like our chances. Tannehill can't hold a candle to Mahomes or Josh Allen. Hell, he showed the playoff game, he can't even hold a candle to Burrow. And we faced all those guys this upcoming season. So the Titans, if they're going to go all in, they better get some speedy weapons, fix the offensive line, and they're going to have to possibly look at a quarterback of the future. I mean, this might not be the year to look at a rookie quarterback because that class is just not very good. And I mean, unless the trade could get pulled off, I mean, I don't know. It's not going to be easy. So, you know, it is what it is. I mean, if the Titans are serious about getting to a Super Bowl, they're going to have to pull something of what the Rams do. Yeah, you may have to give up some draft picks. So, and that's the question. Do you sacrifice the future for the right now? If you want to win a Super Bowl, yes, you sacrifice the future for the right now. I would go all in on trying to get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson if you really want to win. Now, if you just want to be fine, being mediocre, being the middle of the road team, status quo, you stick with Tannehill. And that's just me. But I know it's not going to be easy to move on from Tannehill. Definitely not going to be easy. You know? So there are a lot of things that they're going to have to reconsider. Jameson said, yep, unfortunately, Titans run it back with Tannehill, which makes me feel not good about it. And I don't know. Because if they're running back with Tannehill, I don't have high expectations for them. I'm going to be like, they'll be 11-6 or 10-7. Maybe they win the division, and they're going to have an early exit in the wild card. That's what I see. Now, again, if I'm wrong, I'll be happy to be wrong and apologize. But that's just what I see happening. Tannehill will probably only win playoff games on the road. Well, the 2 games they did win, Tannehill wasn't really that effective. Derrick Henry won those games for him. Yes, Tannehill in the divisional game against the Ravens threw 2 nice dimes. But other than that, it was Derrick Henry and the defense that won the game. Last year against the Ravens, what cost us the game? We were up 10-0, and we were up 13-3 or 13-10, and we were down, had a chance to win. And Tannehill looks at Khalif Raymond instead of looking at an open A.J. Brown. And Corey Davis is not even in the game. Same thing against the Bengals. You don't go to A.J. Brown or Julio Jones or an open Anthony Ferguson. You're looking at Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. And somebody brought this up. I'm like, the best way you're going to win, you force feed A.J. Brown. I've been begging and screaming for that for the longest. You go to your horses. You go to the guys that get you there. You go to AJ. You go to Julio. That should be your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth option. You don't look at Nick Westbrook Aquino or Chester Rogers when the game is on the line. And it doesn't matter if AJ or Julio are double or triple covered. I'm still looking for them because 9 times out of 10, if I throw them the ball, 9 times out of 10, they're going to catch it. So it is what it is. Titans for Life saying if the Titans are going to move on from Ryan, it'll be after next year and be through this year's draft. I don't think they will. I can see things in Ryan that I really like. I mean, yes, there are some things I like. I mean, he is a leader. He has the respect of the locker room. He's a gamer. I'll give him that. But when your coach or your GM says the first thing they like about Tannehill is elite toughness, I'm like, what? Elite toughness? That's the first thing you come up with? Something ain't right there. So, and again, I've been hearing some stuff on the radio, people talking about, limiting the carries of Derrick Henry and stuff like that because they're worried about the injury and that, he might be slowing down. He's 28 and all of that. I understand. But at the same time, Derrick Henry is built differently than anybody else. If Derrick Henry can carry the ball 300 plus times and he feels fine, let him. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you can adapt and modernize a little. You ain't got to completely fix something that ain't broken, but you can kind of tweak and add on to what's already there. You can add a passing offense to a run game. I don't think it's not completely out of the element of possibility, but still, you can fix some things. Philip says all in. Doesn't matter who the OC is. If we're running, the offense looks the same for 4 or 5 years. Can't run this early 2000 offensive scheme. I mean, they can adapt it a little. Let's see, David Von Hoy said things are going to get worse if Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver. I mean, it can get worse if he does go to Denver because we played Denver this year too. But I'm hearing that's probably not looking too good because of a couple of things, I think. One, the engagement to his girlfriend looks like it's off from what I saw. And two, you're going to go into a division with Mahomes, with Herbert, with a resurging Derek Carr. You're going to go into that division? Don't know if that's a good idea. Let's see. A number one tight end would definitely help, plus a good slot receiver. I agree. The replacement in the draft could be in this draft. That's true. I would love to see the Titan go all in for Russell Wilson. I agree. Herman says, I'm going to ride with Coach J-Rob. I believe they see something in Tannehill that we can't. Better protection is a must. I mean, yes, I understand. Yes, we need to fix the offensive line a little bit more, and we got questions with that, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit and in the weeks coming. So, 615 said, does Harold Landry deserve a 5-year, $85 million deal equaling $17 million? Again, we're going to talk about that. Now, that is, Frazier says, because Marcus can't play 16 games. Well, we're not talking about Marcus. Yes, Tannehill has played 16 games, 16, 17 games the last couple of years. At least we don't have that problem. True. But that doesn't mean he's the best option to help us win. Tannehill isn't that dude, and the fact he's not owning up to his mistakes is why I've lost faith in him. Again, he sure hasn't owned up to it. He hasn't owned up to it at all, and I don't like that. So here's the question. What's next? What's next for the Tennessee Titans? And here are the next impending dates that we have coming up. So we have, I'm going to take that off for a second. So here are the next dates. February 22nd. That is the first date you can franchise tag players, like a Harold Landry, for example, who now could become a free agent. And the rumor is he's only asking to become the highest paid player in his meeting room. Bud Dupree signed a 5-year, $82 million deal, which is about $16.5 million. So Harold Landry obviously wants to make 17. The franchise tag, I believe, for an outside linebacker, for a linebacker, is about $17.5 million. The franchise tag for a defensive end is $18.5 million. Now, I understand with the franchise tag that 17, 18 million, that goes against the cap, that whole amount. It's not like Bud Dupree's contract where, he's theoretically making 16.5, but his cap hit is only like 7, 8 million. It would be 17 or 18 million against the cap. Now, if it's me, if all else fails, I'm tagging Harold Landry. If all else, to buy more time to get a long-term deal worked out. Harold Landry has already come out and says he wants to stay with the Titans. The Titans have already said they want to keep him. So they just got to come to an agreement. $17 million ain't a lot to ask for compared to a lot of other guys. TJ Watt is making $28 million. Aaron Donald's making like $25 million. Von Miller's making like 24, 23. Cam Jordan's making like 20. Trey Flowers is making like 18. So 17 million, not really that much compared to others. I'm like, it's a no-brainer to me. You get the deal done with Harold Landry. Yeah, you're going to have to cut some guys and stuff like that, which we will get to that in the coming weeks. But you do whatever you can to bring Harold Landry back. Next up, March 1st through the 7th, the NFL Combine. So you got that coming up in less than 2 weeks. We'll be looking at some stuff. Now, that's going to be, where all the guys are in Indy, and you're going to be looking at 40 times and, bench press, shuttle, interviews and stuff. You'll see who the Titans maybe have been talking to, who they've been looking at and things like that. And this is really where the draft process really picks up. The Senior Bowl is kind of where it started, even though I didn't really get a lot of news out of who they talked to and stuff. But the Combine not only is where you get a look at, potential draft picks, but that is also where a lot of free agent deals kind of get sparked up. That's where a lot of trades kind of get started and kind of, start building. The Combine is not just about looking at the new draft picks, the potential draft picks, but that's also where, deals are done because GMs talk to agents of certain players. Also, you're talking to GMs of other teams, possible trades are started there. Again, that's how J-Rob pulled the trade for DeMarco Murray. Happened at the Combine. Some of the other trades that were pulled happened at the Combine. So that's where a lot of those things happen. March 8th is the deadline for tagging players. Then March 14th through the 16th, that's the legal tampering period. And officially the beginning of the league year is March 16th. That's when free agency starts. April 18th, that's when the Titans can begin OTAs and off-season workouts. You got the draft in Vegas, April 28th through the 30th. I am possibly working on being at the draft in April. So more details coming on that. I may be attending the NFL draft. I'm going to try to see if I can do that. And then May 6th is the deadline for exercising the 5th-year option, which for Big Jeff, that's going to be picked up. There's no way they're not going to pick up Big Jeff's 5th-year option. That's going to happen. So those are the next dates that are definitely coming for the Tennessee Titans as far as the offseason is concerned. And believe me when I tell you, a lot more stuff are going to be coming out as the offseason goes on. And you make sure you tune right here to your number one podcast, Titans and Truth, for all news Tennessee Titans that coming up. So I guarantee you I'm going to do everything I can to bring any breaking news or any news that does come. So definitely stay tuned for that. Let's see. Heather says, pay that man, Harold Landry, and Bud to have Bud Dupree. Yeah, pay that man. Titans for Life said, don't franchise him, transition tag. I'm franchising tag Landry. Now, again, I think the franchise tag, you do the same thing you did with Derrick Henry. You franchise tag, buys you more time. I believe you have until July to work out a long-term deal before they just need to sign the franchise tender. And, at points, you can rescind that franchise tag if you want. I know, there are issues coming up. Money Mike says also contract talk with AJ are coming up. Yes. And the Titans kind of came out, I think Ian Rappaport reported that the Titans have already, come out and said they want to make AJ one of the highest paid receivers. So I know they want to take care of AJ at some point, and they better take care of him sooner rather than later. Ms. Mims says they need to get rid of Lawan. Well, something's going to happen with Lawan or Saffold. But remember the 4 premium positions: quarterback, corner, tackle, pass rusher. Usually the hardest to find. Lawan, yes, he stunk in the first game and had some injury issues, but he got better as the year went on. Saffold seemed like he was going out every game. So I think Saffold could be the odd man out. I could see that. But if you get rid of Lawan and you say put Dylan Radunz on the left side, you still need a right tackle. And in the draft, there are some possibilities, but we can see what's going on with that. You're going to the draft. I mean, right now, I'm talking about going. I don't know if I'm 100% going to be able to be there, but I am working on it. James said, I would be shocked if they don't pick up the 5th-year option on Big Jeff. I think it's a foregone conclusion. They have no choice. They got to pick up that 5th-year option on Big Jeff. I would say we sign Ben Jones and release Roger Saffold. Now, 615. Yeah, that is a good question as well. I would re-sign Ben Jones or take a look at that. But if Tyler Lindenbaum is available in the draft for the Titans, he's the center out of Iowa. I've heard a lot of good things about this kid. I would just draft him, let Ben Jones go, and start you a new center. I could see that being a possibility. Let's Tighten Up podcast. What's up with you? Read an article. They can save money by extending or restructuring Lawan. Saffold's cap hit remains the same if he's restructured, so he's probably the one that gets cut. Yes, I read that article too. I believe Broadway Sports put that article back and said if you do some restructuring or extending of contracts, they could save upwards of $60 to $80 million in cap space if they do that. I mean, I could see them going that route, but they just need to make sure that they do it to where they have an out. They got to make sure that they have some outs, that it doesn't kill them later. Now, again, the great thing is after this year, the salary cap is going to skyrocket every year. So you might be able to do this to where the salary cap goes up exponentially And you do this, and you'll still have cap space in the years going forward. So I could definitely see, where they do some restructuring and stuff like that. But I don't know. And Titan Rob says a lot of restructuring is going to happen this offseason. It's going to be unpredictable. Can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to see what happens either. Show me that y'all ready to win. And we're going to see what happens. If Ben Jones walk, who do we think they'll go after? Now, that leads into the next point, impending free agents. And I just put up a few of the impending free agents that are out. There are 31 in all, but these are just my top free agents, and there are others. You got Landry, which I think he'll be re-signed. There's no way they're going to let him walk. Ben Jones, that's kind of a difficult decision. I think if they can bring him back on a cheap deal, so be it. He is still a solid center. So I would be okay with them bringing Ben Jones back on a reduced deal. I can see that. Jayon and Rashawn, I think, honestly, they're both gone. I think Zach Cunningham and David Long have taken their places. And David Long is up for an extension. So I think they're going to re-sign David Long to maybe a long-term deal after this year. And Zach Cunningham, they may work on bringing his cap number down, which is at $10 million, and bring it down a little bit. But Zach Cunningham came in and he fit like a glove. And, they put the wire, they went on the waiver wire and got him. I don't think they're going to let him go. Deontay Foreman, now that's going to be an interesting one. As much as I think we will all love Deontay Foreman to come back, he does deserve a little bit of a raise. And there could be a team out there, we could offer him $5-6 million to be a backup to Derrick Henry, but there could be another team that comes in and says, hey, we'll give you $7 million to be our starting running back. He could get a promotion to be a starter for some other team, and Deontay Foreman deserves it. He deserves a chance to be a starter somewhere. As much as I would love to have him back, Deontay Foreman at least deserves to get looked at to being a starter. He deserves to at least get looked at. But I hope they bring him back. Randy Bullock, they'll probably bring him back. He did do well for this team. We didn't have that whole colossal kicking problem that we've had the last couple of years. Now, again, Sam Ficken is a restricted free agent. They may bring him back, have those two go at it, because I think Sam Ficken would have been the kicker if he had not gotten hurt. And then when Bullock just kept doing well, that's why they never brought Sam Ficken off of IR, because Randy Bullock was solid. Dane Cruikshank, I don't know what's going to happen with him. He plays solid, but again, you could probably draft his replacement. Ola Adeni did do some things on special teams and was pretty decent as a pass rusher. I think they bring him back for cheap. But that's just some of the free agents. There are still plenty more impending free agents, and that's going to be the question of what do they do when it comes to that. And that's going to be something that we're going to see going forward. I have no idea what the Tennessee Titans are going to do as far as that. But I say the top team needs in the offseason is definitely offensive line, whether it be a tackle if you get rid of Lawan, but you need a right side. Dylan Radunz could be the answer on the right side, and then eventually when Lawan's contract runs out, if they restructure or whatever, you move Dylan Radunz to the left side. Or if there is a guy in the draft like a Trevor Penning or a Bernard Rahman that could come in and slide right away and start, then you could probably cut Lawan and save you about $13 million. You could see that. Wide receiver. We need a speedy wide receiver. I think we've been beating that dead horse for years. And in the draft, there are a good crop of wide receivers. There's also a good crop of wide receivers in free agency as well. And again, we'll be breaking down some of these positions in the coming weeks. We'll have a show where we break down each position as far as free agents that could be available and also some of the top draft picks that could be available when the Titans go on the board. So we are going to be doing something like that in the coming weeks, probably after the combine, leading up to free agency and the NFL draft. So that's definite. Tight end, definitely another position. I mean, that is dire need, is a tight end. And there are a good crop of tight ends in free agency. You got guys like, Mike Gesicki, who could be very expensive. Gronkowski, I don't know if he's going to retire or not. He'll probably go where Brady goes if Brady decides to keep playing. You got guys like a David Njoku, Zach Ertz. You got Dalton Schultz from the Cowboys. You got O.J. Howard that could be available. A lot of good tight ends that are available. I would honestly go with either a Zach Ertz or a O.J. Howard or a David Njoku. Now, if you could swing for the fences for Mike Gesicki, go right ahead. I wouldn't mind. He does have a little familiarity with Tannehill, which could help. But I think Gesicki might be a little bit too expensive. But hey, we'll see. And then quarterback. If you're going to stick with Tannehill, which sounds like that's what the Titans are going to do, even though I'm like, why? Then you're going to have to upgrade behind him. Logan Woodside cannot be your backup quarterback because there's no way if something happens with Tannehill or he struggles that I trust Logan Woodside can come in and win a game. Not going to happen. So you either going to have to draft a Desmond Ridder or a Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis and develop them behind Tannehill, which, I mean, this crop of quarterbacks is not very good. Or you're going to have to get a veteran quarterback, maybe like a Gardner Minshew or somebody like that. Or maybe you trade a late 6th round pick or conditional, maybe a 2023 7th round pick, maybe for Jordan Love. Let him develop behind Tannehill, or something like that. And I ain't saying give up a high pick for Jordan Love, but I would say like a conditional 2023 7th round pick or something like that for Jordan Love. He could develop around Tannehill or something like that. Maybe that's a possibility. Classic Rod says, bring back Mariota to challenge him. Hell no. Absolutely not. See, 615 said, would like to get you on for a draft episode. Hey, let me know when. Let's see. Taylor Lewan can say what he wants, as far as that. And I mean, I hear him, saying, well, a lot of people saying, well, they're looking for Tannehill to be the scapegoat and stuff like that. The team is obviously rallying around Tannehill, and of course they are. They're supposed to. They're not going to throw him under the bus, but I do think they're coddling him a little bit too much. Titan Overdrive said, the only way I will be okay with drafting another lineman in the first round is if we sign Juju and maybe Njoku. Again, it depends on what's going on in the draft. If guys like Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson, Jameson Williams, if they're all gone, and the guys like Rahman or Penning or Lindenbaum are available, you got to look at those guys. Like Todd McShay came out, had us picking a pass rusher from Purdue. I'm like, why? The only way I see something like that is if Landry is gone in free agency, and that's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Center from Iowa. I could definitely see that. Heather, Ms. Mims said, let's keep Foreman and Bullock. I mean, yes, I would like to keep them both. But again, Deontay Foreman is not going to be easy to hold on to. He's earned himself an opportunity to be a starter somewhere. The free agent market is going to be insane. There's going to be a lot of one-year deals due to cap limits. I agree. It's going to be insane. Yes, right now we're about $7 to $10 million over the cap. They can easily get under that. They're not like the Saints and some of these other teams that are like 50, 60 million under the cap. And there are ways to manipulate and maneuver your way around it. I mean, look at the Chiefs. How's it that the Chiefs were like $20 million over the cap, 20 to 30 million over the cap, yet they signed Patrick Mahomes to a 10-year, $450 million deal. They re-signed Travis Kelce to a big deal. They signed Tyreek Hill to a big deal. They signed Chris Jones to a big deal. There are ways to manipulate the cap to your advantage. So we'll definitely see about that. 615 said you bring back Landry, Bullock, and Crookshank. We'll see. I don't know. We're definitely going to find out what they do. They might believe in Rashad Weaver more and let Landry walk. Too inconsistent to deserve a max. Titan Rob, I wholeheartedly disagree. Landry has been pretty consistent. I mean, he had a year where he had 4.5 sacks, then went up to 9, then went down to 5.5. You got to think he had nothing around him, and they were double teaming Jeffrey Simmons, and they were pinpointing on him. They had nobody else. And we've been complaining for the longest about a pass rush for the last 3 or 4 years. We now have a consistent pass rush. You do everything possible to keep that pass rush together. And you let Rashad Weaver come along and things like that. If Rashad Weaver comes along and really develops, then yes, you could look at possibly trading a Landry or Bud Dupree at some point, and you could probably get a nice haul for those guys. But again, if you got an impactful pass rush, if you got a strength, you keep it together as long as possible. 615 says, De'Aaron King from Miami. Maybe, but I don't know. So we're definitely going to see. There was a question out there. Is Tannehill getting too comfortable in his job security? Yes, he needs to have somebody. Tannehill needs to have somebody in competition to make it so he has to kind of look over his shoulder a bit and be like, damn, I need to step up and play right or else my job could be gone. I mean, Tannehill, if Tannehill doesn't feel threatened, he's going to make mistakes and then be like, you know what? Hey, okay, I threw an interception. I cost us the game. Who's going to replace me? So, I mean, again, we'll have to definitely see about that. But I'm about to get ready to wrap up the show. I know everybody's bringing up some ideas on quarterbacks. Classic Rod says Landry can walk. He wants too much. I think the Titans can get a cheaper option. Again, 4 premium positions: corner, tackle, quarterback, pass rusher. Pass rushers ain't cheap. Pass rushers cost you money. You got to pay to play. And Harold Landry ain't even asking to be the highest paid player in the league. He ain't asking to be the highest paid player in the league. He ain't even asking to be the highest paid player. He ain't asking to be the highest paid defensive player. He ain't even asking to be the highest paid player at his position. He's only asking to be the highest paid player in the room, which will be $17 million. To me, that's a no-brainer. You bring him back. Doesn't matter. You bring him back because you're going to have a bigger problem after next season with Big Jeff. Well, this will be his 4th season. Then you pick up his 5th-year option. You got to sign Big Jeff to a massive deal. Now, Big Jeff is going to command close to $20 million or more. And he's going to deserve every penny. because Big Jeff is the real deal. You got a strength, you keep it together. I know a lot of y'all thinking, oh my God, he's going to grab the money and he's going to fall off. I don't see that with Harold Landry. Absolutely not. And Ms. Mills, I'm sorry. Desmond King was not all that great. He had a couple of nice plays here and there, but he wasn't all that great. He got picked on quite a bit and was slow. He wasn't that fast. So I disagree. I know a lot of people bringing in other quarterbacks. We're going to break down in the coming weeks and months. We're going to break down a lot of the positions of need for the Titans. We're going to look at free agency as free agency approaches. What can the Titans do? We're going to be looking at the draft as far as, top options in free agency and in the draft. We're going to be breaking down. We're going to have a show where we break down. Every week we break down a different position. I am going to have some people on. I'm probably going to try to bring on maybe in NGB draft talk. I may try to get No Flags film. I'm going to try to see if I can talk to him. I'm going to try to see if I can get Tyler from Locked On Titans. I'm going to try to get him, Teron Davenport, maybe to talk receivers. So a lot of big things are going to be coming up in the future. I guarantee you that. Again, James is saying, yeah, Tannehill has gotten way too comfortable with his job security. I don't like that. So definitely be on the lookout for things coming up in the future. Definitely gonna break out some things coming in the future and everything. So I thank everybody for supporting me and things like that. We're also gonna have some new things coming up going into next year. So definitely stay tuned for that as well. So again, I say thank you to everybody helping me hit 1,100. Let's get to 1,200 and so I can bring out more for you. Spread this show out. If you haven't subscribed to the show already, please go ahead and do so. And in that way, and hit that bell, hit that notification bell so you know when I go live, you'll know it and you can come on in and be there. Titans for Life says Tannehill is on vacation, so I kind of see why he hasn't really been saying anything, but I think he's only partially to blame. OC needs to be better in situational awareness of personnel. Again, I am not leaving Todd Downing out of this equation for being blamed. I agree. Todd Downing sucks. Absolutely. I think he sucks. But him and Tannehill need to step up. So, I think that's just about going to do it for me tonight. Thank everybody for tuning in to the show. Make sure, again, y'all share this show out. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm your man, Chris, a.k.a. Blue Enforcer. And I will see y'all again. I will try to see about doing the show next week as we get ready for with the combine coming up. Any breaking news, we'll definitely talk about it. And we'll talk about some things about what's next, maybe any new developments about the possible new stadium or any new developments. If we have anything new come up, we will definitely talk about it. So definitely stay tuned. Of course, next week, we could be talking about potential Harold Landry being tagged. We'll definitely talk about that in the coming future. So thank y'all, everybody, for tuning into the show. I'm your man, Chris, a.k.a. Blue Enforcer. Thank y'all for letting me talk your heads off. Stay tuned for upcoming shows and things coming in the future. I holla. Y'all have a good one.